described British humanitarian worker Anita Smith as a great redeemer of his people in recognition of her endless support to Bansang Hospital. Governor Toure pays tribute to Mrs. Smith during the Brits' recent visit to the hospital. Mohamed Bajan reports.
Central River Region, Ganyi Toure, who doubles as the board chairperson of Bansang Hospital, has joined the people of Bansang to pay tribute to Anita Smith, the coordinator of Bansang Hospital, appeal for giving the hospital a significant facelift. Anita Smith, who is widely credited for saving the lives of scores of people in CRR, URR and surrounding villages in Senegal, has greatly transformed Bansang Hospital to a state-of-the-art sick bay, given the number of facilities that are housed in the hospital to attend to the needs of the community and its surroundings.
Every year, you will be decorated by the president, because we know what you are doing for this country, what you are doing for this region. And you are not doing it only for Sierra, as rightly said by all. This hospital is serving almost, you can say, 65% of the country.
The Briton made her first visit to the smiling coast of Africa 2 decades ago as a tourist and began her long-standing relations with the people of Bansang.
I came out like many British tourists on holiday, a holiday that I didn't know was going to change my life, that of my family and my friends forever.
Since then, the one-time tourist turned philanthropist continues to raise funds for the hospital and was able to install numerous life-saving facilities which helped transform the health facility into a model hospital.
So we now have the most magnificent children's ward, I'm sure, as a government hospital, not only for the Gambia, but for sub-Saharan Africa. We have separate medical, surgical, neonatal, malnutrition, and something that we all take for granted, play therapy.
Her intervention has changed the face of the hospital and provided the center with proper medical equipment, and in the process providing quality health care to a catchment area desperately in need of such high-quality health facilities. Modu Bajan, Grts.
Action Aid International, the Gambia, in partnership with the UN Food and Agriculture Organization and Animal Health and Production Services of the Ministry of Agriculture, recently concluded a two-day training for farmers, herdsmen and butchers on the Continuous Bovine Pleuropneumonia (CBPP). Buba Sise reports the forum revolved around the devastating consequences of CBPP on cattle in the country.
Contagious bovine pleuropneumonia, otherwise called CBPP, in the Gambia in August 2012, after a 42-year absence, meant that the outbreak was occurring in a naive population. In such circumstances, mortalities could easily surpass 50% if effective control measures are not urgently taken, bearing in mind that the Gambia depends largely on agriculture for the survival of the majority of its populace, and with livestock production, especially cattle farming, an integral component of agriculture, as it serves as savings account for farmers.
Action Aid International, the Gambia, is proud to be associated with this workshop for several reasons. CBPP is one of the diseases that continue to devastate the cattle herds on which so many people in Africa depend for their livelihood. The Gambia, of course, is no exception. We had previously eradicated CBPP. The last recorded outbreak was in 1971, and the vaccination stopped in 1987. Last year, 2012, a new outbreak was reported in the Central River region, threatening livestock production, and it became a serious obstacle to livestock development.
The FAO country representative, Madam Perpetua K. Kalala, expressed her gratitude to the Ministry of Agriculture and the government of the Gambia for what she called incredible partnership in their collective endeavor to eradicate CBPP from the Gambia and the sub-region. She further encouraged the participants to disseminate relevant, effective, and appropriate messages to the rural pastoral community, who, according to FAO country rep, are the principal target for the CBPP campaign.
Colleagues, while I'm confident that the participants to this message development workshop were carefully selected based on competencies, I will indulge you to ensure that the messages that you're going to elaborate will be relevant, effective, and appropriate, depending on the target audiences. However, let me hasten to add that our principal target for the sensitization campaign remain the rural pastoral communities that own the overwhelming majority of cattle in this country.
The principal veterinary officer at the Animal Health and Production Services is Dr. Duto Sen Fofana.
Sensitization and raising public awareness is key to control and or eradication of any disease. Therefore, public and or farmer participation is a vital ingredient in the control of diseases of livestock, particularly CBPP.
It is expected that the messages developed will be taken further in Action Aid International, the Gambia's subsequent activities, to ensure that farmers, herdsmen, butchers, and the general public understand CBPP and will be in a position to detect the signs and symptoms of CBPP and know what to do when they occur. Buba SMCC, GRTS.
The Gambia Press Union on Thursday opened a 3-day training convergence on women's rights reporting. The tutorial is aimed at improving the ability of journalists on how to report on complex issues pertaining to women's rights violation. GRTS Uminjai was one of the participants, and she tells us more.
G6, among other things, are media practitioners with the requisite skills to report on complex issues relating to women's rights violation in a professional, ethical and constructive manner by virtue of their advantageous position as focal persons for news dissemination. Discussions during this session mainly centered on ways of stopping violence against women. Gambia Press Union, being the umbrella body that advocates the rights of journalists and seeks to protect their welfare, deems it necessary to organize the capacity enhancement effort with a view to giving participating media practitioners the requisite skills to further create awareness and advance efforts against violence against women. The Director of Studies, Gambia Press Union, spoke on gender equality. She posited that the Women's Act and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, are among a host of legal instruments seeking to empower and protect women. She further stated that the rights of women should not be contravened at all and delved into social justice, fair play, whilst arguing that women should be given the opportunity to participate in development to allow them to reach their full potential.
We're all equal in the sight of God. We're all equal under the law, but some are more equal than others. And if we did not make that kind of distinction, we would not be able to address the needs of the disabled, for the physically challenged, people who are challenged. We will not be able to address those who are marginalized, like women or children or youths in certain social, societal or economic contexts.
Protecting rights is everybody's business, but journalists have a crucial role to play in the effort, according to the Executive Director of GPU. Jibai Rujani argued that women are heard from a distance, but their perspectives are never heard from their mouths. Raising awareness of women issues will help them to bring forward all issues hindering their progress.
We deem it essential that raising awareness about the rights of women and the protection of women's rights is a challenge to media. Media must not just report fairly, honestly and accurately on the experience of being a girl child, but must also provide space for the diverse, colorful and creative opinions of women themselves.
A broad range of issues were discussed by participants, among them the Women's Act and the relationship between gender and the media. Journalists who benefited from the training are now expected to use the vital skills and information gathered during the period to help change the situation and strengthen efforts against violations directed towards women. Uminjai, GRTS.
Members of the Central River Region Blood Donation Society have donated 60 pints of blood to Bansang Hospital. The move is designed to provide the health facility with adequate quantity of needed supplies. Momodu Bajan of our newsroom has the rest of that story in this report.
The presence of blood at the theater continues to be a necessity for the treatment of surgical and maternal cases. The need for public support through voluntary blood donation becomes even more critical. It is for this reason that members of the Central River Region Blood Donation Society mobilize scores of volunteers within the region to donate pints of blood for use at the Bansang Hospital. The life-saving action is a continuous activity by the youths of the region in a bid to providing the required quantity of